former petty officer first class, Naval Special Warfare Development, SEAL Team 6, if you want the Hollywood version. And in August 1998, I was part of a 6-man unit deployed to southern Louisiana on a mission that doesn't exist in any official record.
There it is! Weapons
Operation Blackbird.
It's moving! Full
They
back!
told us it was a
Engage!
simple
Fire
extraction.
will!
In and out, 12 hours max. 28 years later, I still can't sleep with the lights off. We inserted at 1,700 hours on August 14th, dropped by unmarked helicopter into a section of bayou. So remote it didn't have a name on any map, just coordinates. The kind of place where the government buries things it doesn't want found. The air hit us first. Thick, wet. It clung to your skin like something alive, carried the smell of rotting vegetation and stagnant water. Mosquitoes formed clouds so dense you inhaled them with every breath. Our team leader was Lieutenant Commander Hayes, 20 years in ice in his veins, the kind of operator who could navigate a minefield blindfolded. Then there was Chun, our comm specialist, always calm, always 3 steps ahead. Ramirez handled breaching and demolitions, built like a tank and twice as stubborn. Bishop was our corpsman, steady hands, steadier head. And Tyson, our sniper, eyes like a hawk, never missed. Then there was me. I handled point and close quarters combat. 6 of us, the best of the best. It wouldn't be enough. Hayes gathered us in a tight circle as the helicopter disappeared into the orange haze of twilight. He pulled out a laminated map, traced a route through the wetland with his finger. Primary objective, Dr. Elena Marsh, civilian contractor, biologist. Last seen 48 hours ago at Research Station Epsilon 7, roughly 4 clicks northwest of our position. His voice was steady, professional. She missed 3 scheduled check-ins. Satellite shows no movement at the facility. We extract her. We exfil from the same LZ at 0500 hours. Questions. Ramirez spat into the water. What kind of research? Hayes didn't look up. Classified. We're not here to ask questions. We're here to bring her home. That should have been the first warning. We moved in a staggered column, weapons up, scanning constantly. The swamp swallowed sound. No birds, no frogs, just the wet suck of our boots in mud, and the occasional splash of something moving through water we couldn't see. The trees were massive, ancient cypresses draped in moss that hung like funeral shrouds, roots twisted out of the water in gnarled shapes that looked almost deliberate, almost sculpted. The fading light turned everything gray and formless. Bishop keyed his radio. Anyone else notice how quiet it is? Stay focused, Hayes said. But Bishop was right. Swamps are noisy. Gators bellowing, insects screaming, birds cutting through the canopy. This place was silent, not peaceful, oppressive, like the air itself was holding its breath. We reached the research station at 1900 hours, just as the last light bled out of the sky. It was a modular structure built on stilts, connected by metal walkways, solar panels on the roof caked in grime, designed to be temporary, functional, forgettable. The door was open. Hayes signaled. We stacked up. Tyson and I went in first, rifles sweeping corners, red dots dancing across walls. The smell hit immediately. Copper. Decay. Something chemical underneath, sharp and synthetic. The interior was trashed. Equipment overturned, paper scattered, a chair lying on its side. But no bodies, just blood, dried pools on the floor, drag marks leading toward the back exit, handprints smeared across the walls. Chin moved to the computer terminal. Fingers flying across the keyboard. System still active. Last entry was 2 days ago. Looks like she was uploading data before. He stopped. Before what? Hayes asked. Chen's face went pale in the glow of the screen. Before she wrote, they're in the water. Ramirez checked the back exit. The door had been torn off its hinges. Not forced. Torn. Metal twisted like foil. Bolts sheared clean through. What the hell did that? He whispered. I moved deeper into the facility. Tore what looked like a laboratory. Stainless steel tables. Surgical lights. Refrigeration units lining the walls. Some still humming. I opened one. Glass jars. Dozens of them. Specimens floating in formaldehyde. Things that might have been embryos once, but weren't anymore. Too many limbs. Wrong proportions. Skin that glistened like scales. And labels. Handwritten. Clinical. Nephilim series. Gen 7 hybrid. Batch 23. Bishop appeared beside me. Stared into the jar I was holding. What were we looking at? Something they made. I said quietly, from outside a sound. Low. Guttural. Not quite a growl. Not quite a hiss. It resonated in your chest. Made your teeth ache. Crawled up your spine and nested in your brainstem. We all froze. Hayes raised a fist. Silence. We killed our weapon lights. Moved the windows. The swamp beyond the station was pitch black now, but the water was moving. Ripples spreading in patterns too deliberate to be wind. Shapes gliding just beneath the surface, sleek and fast and wrong. Chen's radio crackled. Static, then a voice, faint, distorted. Don't look at the water. Don't let them see you looking. Was that Marsh? Bishop whispered. The voice came again, clearer now. A woman. Terrified. They hunt what watches them. Oh God, they're coming back. The transmission cut to static. And then, from 3 different directions around the station, that sound came again. Closer. Coordinated. Hunting. Hayes's voice was barely audible. We're not alone. Part 1 word count. 1,006 words. Part 2, target, 1,000 words. Tyson moved to the window. Scope pressed his eye, scanning the waterline. I've got movement, multiple contacts. They're circling us. Gators? Ramirez asked. No. Tyson's voice was tight. Gators. Don't move like that. Hayes made the call. We extract now. Forget Marsh. We get to the LZ and call for immediate evac. Chun shook his head, still at the terminal. We're 4 clicks from the LZ, through open swamp, at night, with no idea what's out there. Then we make it fast. Hayes checked his rifle. Stagger formation. NVG's on. We move quiet, we move smart. Ramirez, you're rear security. Tyson, you're on overwatch when we stop. Chun, keep that radio hot. I want contact with command every 5 minutes. And if we can't raise them? Chun asked. Hayes didn't answer. We stepped out onto the metal walkway. The air had dropped 10 degrees, mist rising off the water in thick curtains. Our night vision turned the world into grainy green shadows, but it didn't help. The canopy was too dense, the water too dark. I took point, rifle tracking left and right, every nerve screaming. The sound came again, behind us this time, that low, resonant hiss growl that seemed to vibrate inside your skull. I didn't turn around. Hayes had taught us, never take your eyes off your sector. But I wanted to. God, I wanted to. We moved down the walkway towards solid ground, boots clanging on metal. Too loud. Everything was too loud. Halfway across, Tyson stopped. Contact. Water. 11 o'clock. I shifted my aim. Saw it. A shape just beneath the surface. Longer than a man. Wider. Moving parallel to us with smooth, powerful strokes. Then it dove. Where'd it go? Bishop whispered. Tyson scanned frantically. I lost it. The walkway exploded. Something massive erupted from the water directly beneath us. Jaws wide. Rows of teeth like serrated bone. It clamped onto the metal railing, and the entire structure lurched sideways. We opened fire. Muzzle flashes lit the darkness. Bullets tearing into scaled flesh. The creature screamed. Not like an animal, but something worse. Something that carried rage and intelligence in equal measure. It dropped back into the water. Blood spread in dark clouds. Move. Move. Hayes roared. We sprinted across the walkway as it buckled and groaned. I hit solid ground, spun, counted heads. 5. Where's Ramirez? Tyson pointed back toward the station. Ramirez was still on the walkway, frozen, staring into the water below him. Ramirez, get your rear in gear. Hayes shouted. Ramirez took a step. The water beneath him surged. 3 of them came up at once. They moved with terrifying coordination, jaws snapping, claws, yes claws, gripping the metal supports. One lunged onto the walkway, and I saw it clearly for first time. 8 feet long, Reptilian body plated in dark, overlapping scales. But the head was wrong. Elongated, almost crocodilian, but the eyes, Jesus. The eyes were forward-facing, predatory, intelligent. And the forelimbs, not paddles, arms, muscular, jointed, ending in webbed hands tipped with black talons. It moved like a gorilla, and a crocodile had been forced into the same nightmare and told to hunt. Ramirez fired, backing away, rounds punching through its torso. It barely slowed. It tackled him. Ramirez! Bishop started forward, but Hayes grabbed him. The creature dragged Ramirez off the walkway and into the water. He screamed once, a wet, choking sound, and then the surface erupted in thrashing violence. Blood sprayed. Something crunched. Then silence. The water went still. Ramirez was gone. We ran. No formation. No tactics. Just raw survival instinct driving us through the swamp, splashing through knee-deep water, vaulting over roots, crashing through undergrowth that tore our uniforms. Behind us, that sound. Multiple sources now, answering each other, hurting us. Chin stumbled, went down hard. I grabbed his vest, hauled him up. They're playing with us, he gasped. Save your breath. Run. We broke into a small clearing, relatively dry ground, ringed by massive cypresses. Hayes signaled a halt, and we formed a defensive circle, gasping, soaked, wild-eyed. Tyson climbed a tree, fast and silent, got 20 feet up and scanned with a scope. I count 6. No, 8. They're surrounding us, staying in the water, just out of range. Chun, get command on the line. Now. Hayes' voice was steel over panic. Chun fumbled with the radio, keyed the mic. Blackwater Actual, this is Blackwater 1. We are under attack. Mission is compromised, requesting immediate. Static. He adjusted the frequency. Tried again. More static. Something's jamming us. Or, he looked at the canopy. We're too deep. Signal can't get through. Bishop was shaking. Not fear. Adrenaline crash. What the hell are those things? You saw the lab, I said. They made them. Made them from what? I thought of the jars. The labels. Nephilim. Us, I said quietly. They made them from us. Hayes checked his ammunition. Doesn't matter what they are. Matters that we kill them. We dumped 30 rounds into one, and it barely slowed. Tyson called down. And there's 8 of them. Then we don't fight them head on. Hayes pulled out the map, traced a route with his finger. The original facility, the one where this project started. It's marked here, 2 clicks west. If Marsh knew about it, maybe she went there. Either way, it's structure, walls, defensible position. Or a tomb, Bishop muttered. Better than dying out here. Hayes folded the map. We move in 5. Stay tight. Stay quiet. From the water, that sound again. Closer now. Patient. They weren't just hunting us. They were savoring it. Part 2 word count. 1,024 words. Part 3 target. 1,000 words. We moved like ghosts through the swamp, every step measured, every breath controlled. The creatures tracked us. We could hear them. Parallel to our movement. Sometimes ahead, sometimes behind, always just out of sight. The mist thickened. Our NVG became almost useless, showing nothing but swirling gray static. We switched to weapon lights, tight beams cutting through the darkness. Tyson kept glancing over his shoulder. They're corralling us. I know, Hayes said. Keep moving. No, you don't get it. They're pushing us west, toward that facility. They're herding us where they want us to go. That stopped us cold. Bishop's light swept the water. Why would they do that? Because they're smart, I said. Smarter than we thought. Chen's hands were shaking on his rifle. So what do we do? Hayes was silent for a long moment. Then, we go anyway. We don't have a choice. We found the facility at 2,230 hours. It was older than the research station. Concrete bunker half submerged in black water, covered in vines and moss. A relic from another era. Cold War, maybe, or earlier. The kind of place built to be forgotten. The entrance was a steel door, rusted but intact, set into the hillside. A faded sign beside it read, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, authorized personnel only. Underneath, someone had spray-painted something newer. God forgive U.S. Welcoming. Bishop muttered. Hayes tested the door. Locked. Ramirez was our breacher. I can do it, I said. Give me 2 minutes. I pulled out my kit, set a small frame charge around the lock mechanism. We stacked up, turned away. The blast was muffled, focused. The door swung inward on screaming hinges. Darkness beyond. And a smell, God, the smell. Decay layered over antiseptic. Years of rot compressed into stale air. We entered. The interior was a maze of corridors, concrete walls weeping moisture, fluorescent lights hanging dead from ceiling. Our lights revealed old equipment, filing cabinets, desks, chairs, all covered in layers of mold and sediment. Water covered the floor, ankle-deep, murky and still. This place flooded, Chin said, his voice echoing. Partially, Hayes corrected. Looks like the lower levels are submerged. Tyson aimed his light down a side passage. Why would Marsh come here? Maybe she didn't. I moved deeper, scanning doors. Most were open, revealing small offices and storage rooms. Nothing useful. Then I found one that was different. Steel door, reinforced, and it was sealed from the inside. I knocked. For a moment, nothing. Then, from behind the door, a voice. Hoarse. Female. Terrified. Who's there? Dr. Marsh? I called. We're U.S. Navy. We're here to extract you. Silence. Then the sound of something heavy being dragged aside. Locks disengaging. The door cracked open. A woman's face appeared in the gap, gaunt, streaked with dirt and dried blood. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated, the look of someone who'd been staring into the abyss for too long. You shouldn't have come, she whispered. We got her into the corridor. She was dehydrated, malnourished, covered in cuts and bruises. Bishop checked her over while Hayes questioned her. What happened at the research station? Marsh laughed. A brittle, fractured sound. What happened? We played God, and God sent his answer. The creatures, the Nephilim. She looked at each of us, her gaze hollow. That's what we called them. Hybrids, genetic engineering. Military wanted super soldiers. Amphibious, strong, adaptive. We use crocodilian DNA as the base, splicing human sequences for intelligence, octopus genes for problem solving, wolf DNA for pack coordination. She laughed again. It worked. It worked too well. How many are there? Hayes asked. We created 23 viable specimens, but they breed now, in the wild, in the deep water. We lost count after 50. 50. Chin looked like he might be sick. Why didn't they kill you? I asked. Marsh met my eyes. Because I'm not a threat. I'm a witness. They want someone to remember what we did, what we became. From deeper in the facility, a sound echoed up through corridors. That sound, but now it was inside with us. Tyson spun, rifle raised. They're in the building. Hayes grabbed Marsh. Is there another way out? Lower levels. Emergency exit to the surface. But it's flooded. How flooded? Completely. You'd have to dive through 3 submerged corridors to reach it. Then we go up. Hayes decided. Find high ground. Hold position until dawn. Call for evac when we have clear line of sight. We moved fast, following Marsh through the labyrinth. The facility was larger than it looked from outside. Tunnels branching in multiple directions. Some collapsed, others leading into darkness we didn't have time to explore. Behind us, the sounds multiplied. Scraping, splashing, that guttural vocalization that made your bones ache. We reached a stairwell, started climbing. The water level dropped as we ascended. First to our shins, then gone entirely, just wet concrete. Second floor. Third. The stairs ended at a heavy door marked observation deck. Hayes kicked it open. We emerged onto a rooftop platform, open to sky, ringed by a rusted railing. The swamp stretched out in every direction, endless and black under a moonless sky. Chin immediately tried the radio. Blackwater Actual, Blackwater 1, do you copy? Static. Then, Blackwater 1, this is Actual, we read you weak and broken. Confirm your position. We're at the original research facility. We have the package. We need immediate extraction. The transmission dissolved into static, then cut entirely. Chin stared at the radio. They were jamming us. Now they're not. Why? Tyson was at the railing, looking down. His face went pale. Because they don't need it anymore. We joined him. The facility was surrounded. Dozens of them, maybe more. Shapes moving through the water, climbing onto the banks, circling the building with slow, deliberate patience. Waiting. Marsh's voice was almost dreamy. They don't attack immediately. They study, learn, plan. How long? Hayes asked. Until they're ready. Bishop checked his ammunition. I've got 4 mags left. We all checked. Similar counts. Maybe 500 rounds between us. Against 50. Hayes looked at each of us. We hold this position. We survive until dawn. That's an order. From below, the sound rose in chorus. And then, as one, they began to climb. Part 3 word count. 1,091 words. Part 4 target. 1,000 words. The first one came over the edge at 2,300 hours. Tyson took the shot. Clean headshot. The creature's skull snapping back, body tumbling into the darkness below. Contact, he shouted, working the bolt. They came from every direction. We formed a circle, firing in disciplined bursts, picking targets as they crested the railing. Muzzle flashes strobed the darkness. Spent brass clinked on concrete. The air filled with the stench of gunpowder and something else. Wet reptile, predator musk, and underneath it all, something disturbingly human. I dropped 2 climbing the south side, watched them fall and splash into the water below. But for every one we killed, 2 more appeared. They're testing us. Hayes shouted over the gunfire. Conserve your ammo. Bishop dragged Marsh to the center of the platform, behind a rusted ventilation unit that offered minimal cover. She was whispering something over and over. We made them too well. A creature lunged over the railing near Chun. He pivoted, fired point-blank into its chest. It thrashed, claws raking his shoulder, tearing through his uniform. Blood sprayed. I put 3 rounds into its head. It went limp. Chin stumbled back, clutching his shoulder. I'm good. But he wasn't. The blood was dark, flowing fast. Bishop moved him, tore open a field dressing, packed a wound. You're out of the fight. Stay down. The attack stopped. Suddenly, completely, we scanned the perimeter, breathing hard, fingers on triggers. Nothing moved. The silence was worse than the assault. Why'd they stop? Tyson whispered. Hayes checked the bodies scattered around us. 8, maybe 9, because they got what they wanted, which is information. Now they know how we fight, what our capabilities are. They're adapting. From the darkness beyond the railing, that sound, but different now, rhythmic, synchronized, a low thrumming that resonated in your chest, made your vision blur at the edges. Marsh grabbed my arm, her grip desperate. Don't listen to it. Don't let it inside your head. What are you talking about? The sound. It's not just communication. It's psychological warfare. They learned it from us, from the sonic deterrents we used during training, but they weaponized it. The thrumming intensified. My temples started to throb. I saw Tyson waver, stumble. Bishop pressed his hands to his ears. Make it stop, Chin groaned. Then it did stop, and they came again, fast, all at once. A coordinated assault from every side. We opened fire, but they were faster now, more aggressive, using the bodies of their dead as shields, timing their movements between our reloads. One reached the platform, charged Hayes. He sidestepped, smashed the stock of his rifle into its skull, followed with a burst to its spine. It collapsed, twitching. Another came at me from the left. I fired, hit it in the shoulder. It didn't slow. I dropped my rifle, pulled my sidearm, put 4 rounds into its face at 3 feet. It fell at my boots, jaws still snapping. Falling back. Hayes shouted. To the doorway. We retreated toward the stairwell entrance, firing as we moved. Tyson laid down, covering fire, dropping 2 more before his rifle ran dry. "I'm out," he yelled, transitioning to his pistol. We reached the doorway. Hayes grabbed the door, tried to pull it shut. It wouldn't close. One of the creatures had wedged its body in the gap, claws gripping the frame, pushing back with inhuman strength. Ramirez would have had breaching charges, would have sealed this door, bought us time. But Ramirez was dead. Bishop and I added our weight, slamming against the door, trying to crush the creature. Its arm thrashed, talons inches from our faces, that sound pouring from its throat like acid. Hayes put his rifle against its head and fired. The door slammed shut. We braced it with our bodies, gasping, shaking. "This won't hold them long," I said. "Doesn't have to." Hayes checked his watch. 6 hours until dawn. We go down, find a choke point, make them come at us one at a time. "What about the flooded sections?" Bishop asked. Hayes looked at Marsh. "You said there's an emergency exit. How far down?" "Sublevel 3, through the old research labs." "Then that's where we go." Chin struggled to his feet, his face gray. "I can't dive." "Not with this shoulder." "You won't have to." Hayes' voice was gentle. "You're going to hold the stairs. Buy us time." Chin understood immediately. He nodded slowly. "Give me all your grenades." We did. He settled onto the top step, rifle across his lap, 6 grenades lined up beside him. "Been an honor, sir." Hayes gripped his shoulder. "The honor was mine." We descended. Sublevel 1 was ankle-deep water. Sublevel 2 was knee-deep, murky, and cold. Sublevel 3 was chest-deep, and the water was rising. We waded through corridors lined with sealed doors, labels half dissolved. Embryonic testing, neural mapping, behavioral conditioning. "This is where it started," Marsh said quietly, "where we broke every ethical boundary, where we played God and created devils." I finished. Above us, the sound of gunfire, rapid, desperate, then grenades one after another, the concussions shaking the walls. Then silence. Chin had held them as long as he could. "Move," Hayes said. We reached a large chamber, some kind of observation theater, tiered seating overlooking a central tank, now flooded. The emergency exit was on the far side, a red light glowing above it. "We have to go through the tank," Marsh said. "It's the only way." Tyson shone his light into the water. It was black, opaque, depth impossible to judge. "What's in there?" Bishop asked. Marsh didn't answer. From the corridor behind us, the sound of splashing. They'd breached the stairwell. They were coming. Hayes stripped off his gear, keeping only his knife. Buddy pairs. "Tyson, you're with Marsh. Bishop, you're with Keller. I'll go last, seal the door behind us." "Sir, that's an order." We entered the water. It was cold, so cold it stole your breath. I took a deep breath, went under. Darkness. Complete. Total. I kicked forward, following the glow of Bishop's light ahead of me, one hand trailing the wall. My lungs started to burn. Something brushed past my leg. I kicked harder, panic rising. The wall curved. I followed it. My vision started to tunnel. Then light. The exit. Bishop was pulling himself up onto a platform, reaching back for me. I grabbed his hand, and he hauled me out. I gasped, choking, coughing up black water. Tyson surfaced next, dragging Marsh. We waited. Hayes didn't surface. 30 seconds. 45. "Something's wrong," Tyson said. Then the water exploded. Hayes erupted upward. Something massive clamped onto his leg, dragging him back down. I dove without thinking. Part 4 word count. 1,125 words. Part 5 target. 1,000 words. Underwater. Darkness absolute. I felt blindly, grabbed fabric. Hayes' vest. Pulled. Something resisted, immensely strong, hauling in the opposite direction. I found my knife, stabbed downward, felt it sink into flesh. The grip released. I kicked upward, dragging Hayes with me. We broke the surface together. Tyson and Bishop grabbed us, pulled us onto the platform. Hayes' leg was torn open, tibia visible through shredded muscle. Blood poured into the water. Tourniquet. Bishop shouted, already digging in his kit. I scanned the water behind us. Ripples. Movement. More coming. We need to move. Now! Bishop worked fast, cinched the tourniquet tight. Hayes bit down on a scream, nodded. Go. We hauled him to his feet, moved through the emergency exit into a narrow tunnel that sloped upward. Our lights revealed concrete walls, streaming with water, rusted pipes overhead dripping condensation. The tunnel opened into a small room, some kind of control station, equipment long dead, but one wall was lined with file cabinets. Marsh stopped, staring. This is it. The archives. Everything we did, it's documented here. Great. We'll send a cleanup crew later. I moved to the far door, the one that should lead to the surface. It was sealed, not locked. Sealed, welded shut, steel plate covering it entirely. No. Tyson slammed his fist against it. No, no, no. They sealed it, Marsh said numbly, when the project was terminated. They sealed everything, buried it. Hayes was fading, his face pale, lips blue. Find another way. I looked around frantically. The room had one exit, the tunnel we'd just come through. One wall of cabinets, one sealed door, and overhead a ventilation shaft, narrow, maybe 2 feet wide. There, I pointed. We go up. That's barely big enough for one person, Bishop said. Then we go one at a time. From the tunnel, splashing sounds. Getting closer. Tyson climbed onto a desk, pried open the vent cover. I'll go first, make sure it's clear. Send Marsh next, then Bishop, then Keller. What about me? Hayes asked quietly. We all knew. With his leg. He couldn't climb. Hayes understood, too. He pulled his sidearm, checked the magazine. I'll hold them here. Give you time. Sir, that's an order, Keller. He smiled just slightly. Besides, every good story needs someone to stay behind. Make sure no one forgets. Tyson disappeared into the vent. 30 seconds later, his voice echoed down. Clear! Comes up about 40 feet. Exits on the surface. Bishop lifted Marsh, boosted her into the shaft. She climbed, awkward but determined. You're next, I told Bishop. I'm the corpseman. And he's gone, Bishop. You know it. I know it. He knows it. Don't make it meaningless. Bishop looked at Hayes. Hayes nodded. Bishop climbed. I was alone with Hayes. He leaned against the wall, breathing shallow, pistol in one hand, a grenade in the other. You tell them what happened here. Make sure people know. I will. And Keller? Don't let them do this again. Don't let them make another Blackwater. I'll try. That'll have to be enough. He gestured to the vent. Go. I climbed into the shaft, started pulling myself upward, using my elbows and knees, inching through the narrow space. Below me, I heard them enter the room. Heard Hayes speak, his voice steady. Come on, then. Let's see what you've got. Gunfire. Rapid. Controlled. Then the grenade. The shaft shook. Dust rained down. I closed my eyes and kept climbing. I emerged into moonlight. The vent exit was hidden in dense undergrowth, barely visible. Tyson pulled me out. Marsh and Bishop were already there, huddled and shaking. In the distance, the sky was beginning to gray. Dawn, maybe an hour away. We need to move, Tyson said. Get to the LZ? We stumbled through the swamp, no longer caring about noise, just distance. The sounds of pursuit had stopped. Either they'd lost us or they were waiting. We reached the LZ at 0445 hours. The clearing was exactly as we'd left it, muddy and overgrown. Chun tried the radio. By some miracle, it crackled to life. Blackwater Actual. This is Blackwater 1. We are at the LZ requesting immediate extraction. Blackwater 1, actual copies. Hello is inbound. ETA 15 minutes. Mark your position. Bishop popped a green smoke nod. It hissed, spewing color into the pre-dawn gloom. We waited. 15 minutes. Then 20. Finally, the sound of rotors. The helicopter descended, and we ran for it, climbing aboard before it even touched down. The crew chief stared at us. 3 men and 1 civilian, covered in blood and mud, eyes hollow. "Where's the rest of your team?" he shouted over the rotors. None of us answered. The helicopter lifted off. Through the open door, I looked down at the swamp and saw them, standing at the edge of the tree-line. Dozens of them, watching, not attacking, not pursuing, just watching, making sure we left. We were debriefed at a secure facility I'm not allowed to name. They took our statements, confiscated our equipment, made us sign documents that essentially erased our existence. Dr. Marsh disappeared into federal custody. I never saw her again. Tyson and Bishop were reassigned to different units. We agreed not to contact each other. Easier that way. The official story: training accident. For men lost in a swamp navigation exercise. No bodies recovered. No investigation. Blackwater never happened. But I'm telling you now, because you need to know, they're still out there, in the deep places, the forgotten places, and they're not contained. 2 years ago, there were reports of missing persons in the Louisiana bayou. Fishermen, hikers, 23 people in 18 months. The official explanation was gators, but I know better. Last month, I received a package. No return address. Inside was a file folder. Old, water damage, from the archives. On the first page, a memo dated 1997. Project Nephilim has exceeded expectations. Recommend expansion to coastal regions. Suggest secondary sites in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. They didn't just build one facility. They built dozens. And somewhere in the dark water, their creations are thriving. So before you go camping near a swamp, before you take that fishing trip to a remote bayou, before you dismiss this as just another horror story, remember, some things we bury don't stay buried. Some things we create don't stay controlled. And some hunts never end. They just wait for the next victim. If you hear that sound, low, guttural, resonating in your chest, don't run. It's already too late. They've been tracking you, and they don't miss. If you made it this far, do me one favor. Share this story. Make sure someone else knows. Because the government won't admit Blackwater existed. But I was there, and I'm telling you the truth. Subscribe if you want to survive. Because the next story I tell might be the one that saved your life. Or ends it. Part 5 word count. 1,194 words. Part 6, target. 1,000 words. I didn't plan to speak again. For 28 years, I kept silent. Buried the memories as deep as they'd buried that facility. Drank enough to dull the nightmares. Moved enough times to convince myself I wasn't running. But 3 weeks ago, something changed. I was living outside Asheville, North Carolina. Quiet town. Mountain air. Far from any swamp. I thought I was safe. Then I found a photograph. It was slipped under my door. No envelope. Just a single printed image, grainy, taken from a distance. It showed me walking to my truck 2 days earlier. And in the background, barely visible in the tree line behind my property, a shape, tall, hunched, watching. On the back, handwritten in neat block letters. "We remember you too." I called Tyson that night. First time in over 2 decades. The phone rang 4 times. I almost hung up. Then, "Yeah?" "It's Keller." Silence. Long enough that I thought he'd disconnected. "You shouldn't be calling this number." "They found me." Another pause. Then quieter. "North Carolina? How did you?" "Because they found me too. Last week. I'm in Oregon." My blood went cold. "Bishop?" "Don't know. Haven't been able to reach him. His last known address was Virginia. Coastal. The word hung between us. Coastal, where the memo said they'd expanded. "They're hunting us," I said. "They've always been hunting us. We just didn't realize it." Tyson's voice was hollow, exhausted. We were witnesses. We saw what they were, what they could do, and we survived. That makes us loose ends. Or trophies. Yeah. He exhaled slowly. Or that. What do we do? What can we do? We're not active duty anymore. We don't have resources. No one believes us. We go to the authorities. They lock us up for psych eval. So we just wait to die? No. His voice hardened. We finish what Hayes started. We make sure people know. We document everything, every location, every file, every piece of evidence. We make it impossible to cover up. And if they come for us before we finish, then we take as many of them with us as we can. I started driving south the next morning, back to Louisiana, back to where it began. I don't know what I expected to find. The facility's sealed, flooded, buried under 28 years of overgrowth and government denial. But I had to see it, had to confirm. It took me 3 days to locate the coordinates. The swamp had changed, water levels higher, landscape shifted by storms and time. But eventually, I found the spot where we'd inserted. The research station was gone. Completely. Not collapsed or abandoned. Erased. The stilts cut flush with the waterline. Every trace of the structure removed. But the bunker facility was still there, partially submerged. The entrance sealed with concrete poured thick and marked with biohazard warnings. And fresh tire tracks leading to and from the site. Recent, within the last few weeks. Someone was still coming here. I followed the tracks through the swamp, deeper than we'd gone during the operation, to a section where the water opened into a wide, dark pool. And I saw it, a feeding station. Crude platform built over the water, chains hanging down, ending in hooks, animal carcasses, deer, pigs, something that might have been a cow, suspended just above the surface. And below, in the black water, shapes gliding. They were feeding them, sustaining them. Someone was keeping them alive. I took photographs, video, documented everything. Then I heard the boat motor. 2 men, civilian clothes, but moving with military precision. They beached the boat, climbed onto the platform, began lowering fresh meat. On the chains. I stayed hidden, filming. One of them pulled out a radio. Control, this is Feed Team 2. Delivery complete. Stock levels are healthy. Recommend increasing drop frequency for northern sector. The radio crackled. Copy that. Command is pleased with growth rates. Continue current protocol. Roger. Any update on the target acquisition? 2 confirmed. 1 pending. Authorized to proceed. They were talking about us. I stopped filming. Started backing away slowly, carefully, and stepped on a branch. The crack echoed across the water. Both men turned. Saw me. One reached for a sidearm. I ran. Behind me, shouts. The boat motor roaring to life. And beneath that, a sound I knew too well. That low, guttural call, spreading across the water, alerting the others. I crashed through the swamp, no longer caring about stealth, just speed. Behind me, the sounds of pursuit, human and otherwise. I reached my truck, fumbled with the keys, got it started. Floored it down the logging road, mud spraying, branches scraping the sides. In the rear view mirror, something emerged from the tree line. Massive, fast. It chased me for half a mile before falling back. But not because it couldn't catch me. Because it didn't need to. It knew where I was going. I'm uploading this from a motel outside Baton Rouge. I've sent copies of everything to multiple sources, journalists, researchers, congressional offices. I don't know if it will matter. I don't know if anyone will believe. But I'm done hiding. Tyson was right. We finished what Hayes started. I'm going back. To North Carolina. To Oregon. To every site mentioned in those files. And I'm going to expose every single one. If you're watching this, if you've made it this far, this is your warning. Check your local news. Disappearances near wetlands. Unexplained attacks. Wildlife behaving strangely. If you see the pattern, you'll know they're not just in Louisiana anymore. They're spreading. And the people who made them, whoever they are, whatever agency still maintains them, they're not stopping. This was never a mistake. This is ongoing. 3 days ago, Bishop's body was found on a beach in Virginia. Official cause of death, shark attack. But I saw the photos someone leaked. Those weren't shark bites. Yesterday, Tyson stopped answering his phone. Tonight, I heard that sound outside my window. I'm uploading this now, while I still can. If you never hear from me again, you'll know why. But you'll also know the truth. And maybe that will be enough. Maybe someone braver than me will finish this. Maybe someone will stop them. Or maybe Maybe we're already too late. Maybe Operation Blackwater wasn't beginning. Maybe it was just the first time someone survived long enough to talk. The door just rattled. I'm out of time. Remember me. Remember Hayes. Chun. Ramirez. Remember what they did to us. What they're still doing. And whatever you do, stay away from the water.